Hi guys, as always, I'm so happy to have you on my channel today. I'll be showing you the easiest way to draft a corset pattern. And here on my pattern paper, I have marked out my horizontal and vertical dimensions. So I'll be working with this today. But before we start, please, if you have not subscribed to my channel, click on the subscribe button and ensure to share this video and like it. So let's get started. So this is my bust line. This is the under bust, and this is my waistline. We're not going to be using the upper chest measurement for this corset drafting. So I'll just measure out the armhole and mark it, okay? So this is the armhole. Now I'll measure the bust point or bust span, which is my nipple to nipple measurement, and that's 9 inches, okay? So I'm going to mark half of it here, which is 4.5, to determine my apex. So this becomes the apex. Then at the under bust as well, I will mark 4.5, which is the bust span. On the waistline too, I'll mark 4.5. So this is it. I'll just use my straight ruler to link up these lines. Next, I will measure my dart, okay? So for my dart, I'll be using 1 inch on the left and 1 inch on the right. That will be for my dart. So this is on the under bust. On the waistline as well, I'll mark 1 inch to the right and 1 inch to the center front. Now I'll link these lines up with my straight ruler. To link it up to the apex, instead of marking a straight line this time, I'm going to make it in form of a curve, just to create the cup shape I want for my corset, okay? So I hope you can see what I'm doing. So on the other side too, I'll do the same thing. Next thing I'll do now is to determine how deep I want my neckline to be, okay? If I want to reveal a little bit of cleavage, I will have to extend it down maybe to 9 inches or 9.5, depends on how deep I want it to be on the neckline. But if I'm leaving it at 8 inches, that should be moderate for me, okay? So I'm using 8 inches depth, that's from the shoulder to the neckline, okay? So on that point, I'll mark ½ inch inwards. This ½ inch is going to be the distance between the two joinings of my corset, okay? So it will be at the center front. That's it. So I'll just connect this point with my straight ruler from the center front to the waistline, okay? So this is it. Next up, I'll measure the distance between my apex, that's from my bust point to the under bust, and this is 4 inches, okay? So I'll apply that same 4 inches to the midpoint, that's between my bust line and the waistline, diagonally. This is 4 inches, I'll apply it here. Now to the side pattern, instead of applying 4 inches, I'll make it up to 4.5. That's at the midpoint between the bust line and the under bust. The reason I'm making it 4.5 on this side is because the bust to the side is usually fuller or bigger than the front side, okay? So I've applied 4 inches on this side and 4.5 on this side. So I'll just use my French curve to make the curve to meet up at the bust line, okay? Linking up the 4 inches I marked and 4.5 I marked on the side pattern, okay? So this is it. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Then on this side too, I'll do same with my French curve. I also measure the same 4 inches, okay? That's the distance between my apex and the underbust. I'll apply it at the top as well. So I'm marking 4 inches at this point. Towards the armhole, I'm going to mark 1.5 inches, okay? This is for the dart on top to create my curve. Then towards the center front, I'll mark 1/2 inch. So it's 1.5 to the left and 1/2 inch to the right. Then I'll connect this using a curve as well. Okay, I use a French curve to connect. The reason I used 1.5 for the left pattern is to create a curve to fit, so that the bust will fit in properly. Okay, mind you, it's not constant, so you can make yours 1 inch or even 2 inches, depends on how curved you want it to be. Then to the center, I'll mark 1/2 inch. Now, to ensure that the 2 sides are equal, I'll just confirm that the lengths are okay. So now I have 4¼ inches. So to the right as well, I'll ensure it's 4¼ So this is it. So I have to extend this a bit. Okay, I hope you understand what I mean. And it's really easy. Okay, next I'll link this point up with the neck depth I mark. Towards the armhole as well, I'll apply my 4.5 inches. And this is it. Now I'll use my French curve to connect this point with the left side. So next, from this point, I'll just draw a line and link it up with the armhole I created earlier. Okay, so I'm going to link this side up like so to the armhole. Next, I'll measure my bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, so the bust measures 40 inches. So divide by 4, I will mark it here, which is 10 inches. Okay, I've applied that here. Then the under bust measurement divide by 4. So 34 divided by 4 is 8.5 inches. Okay, so this is 8.5. Then I'll apply the 2 inches that I took away for my dart. Okay, so that's plus 2 inches. I'll apply my 2 inches here and mark it. Then on the waistline too, the waist measurement is 36 inches. So 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. Okay, so I'll also apply this 2 inches dart allowance I took away. So I'll add it to this point. So that's 2 inches. I'll just connect these lines together. Let's say you're making a top with yoke with this, okay, and you want your yoke to extend to this point, maybe to have a sweetheart shape. All you will do is to just draw up this point like this into the armhole you marked. Okay, then you cut this off and use it as a template to measure out the yoke you want to use. Maybe if you're using a net or lace or whatever fabric you're using as a yoke, this point you're taking off here will serve as your yoke. So straight up, I'll just cut out my pattern now. So these are our cups. Okay, these are for the cup, and this is the pattern if you need a yoke for your top, and these are the 2 sides for our corset. So let's label these parts so as not to get them mixed up. So this one is going to be at the center. Okay, so this is the center piece. This one will label it as the side piece. So S for center, C for center, and S for side. So this one is going to be at the center front, so we'll label it as CF. Then this one is going to be at the side front, so we'll label them this way so that we'll know where each part of the corset goes. Okay, next up I'll show you how to cut out the back piece. For the back pattern, I will apply the bust span measurement, which is 4.5 inches. Okay, so that's 9 inches divided by 2, 4.5. I'm going to mark that on my bust line, on the under bust, and on the waistline. Okay, so this is it. Then I will determine the depth of my neckline for the back. You know, for the front we used 8 inches for the depth, but for the back you can decide to make it deeper than that, maybe 10 inches or 9. I'll go for 9.5 for the back. I'll mark this point, which is my bust span. Then on the waistline, I'll measure half inch. Measure half inch to the right and half inch to the left. That will be for my darts. We'll just extend these lines to meet at the back or at the bust point. Okay, so just like this. So next I'm going to apply my bust measurement divide by 4, which is 10 inches. Okay, I'll apply 10 inches here. Then on the under bust, I'll apply 34 inches divided by 4, which is 8.5. I'll mark that, plus 1 inch dart allowance, that's 9.5. I'll mark it. On the waistline as well, I'll do same. 36 divided by 4 is 9 inches. I'll mark it here, plus 1 inch dart allowance, that's 10 inches. So I'll just connect these 3 points. So for the neckline, I'll mark my 9.5 inches and connect it with the armhole like this. I'll be using my French curve for that. So this is what I'll get. This pattern has no seam allowance, so whenever I'm cutting on fabric, I'll now need to add my appropriate seam allowance. So I'll just cut this out now. Okay, so for the cups, I added half inch all round. Then for the side or the center front part of the corset, I added half inch as well all round. And for the side part of it, I added half inch to the side that comes to the cup and to the center. Then to the side seam or to the armhole side, I added 1 inch seam allowance. On the back pattern as well, I added half inch all round, except for the side and the zipper allowance. So for this front, I added 1 inch zipper allowance. Then these ones are the interfacings I'll be using for the corset. So you can attach a wadding and interfacing to your cups. So if you're lining it with a different color of fabric, you will need to cut 1 piece of your real fabric and 1 piece of the lining, but I'm using the same fabric for the lining, so that's why I've cut 2 pieces of the fabric. Okay, so in my next video I'll show you how to make a top with these components, and I hope to see you in that video. Thank you. Bye.